right, everybody, welcome back to the Major Pod Network. I'm very excited about this right now. We have a very special guest, somebody that I played with to no end when I was a child. I played with him nonstop.
Played with him? What? That's just weird.
Because he's one of my favorite bone-crunching action figures of all time. Former WWE Tag Team Champion, Headbanger Mosh, a.k.a. Chaz. Welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
We're pumped about this.
This is going to be
Me, guys. I guess I'm not here. Matt Cardona, the host.
Well, I didn't even introduce myself either. I think everyone knows who we are by now.
Well, that's true. Chaz, thank you very much for joining. We've been talking about this for a couple of weeks. We'll get into the big news we have later. But let's just talk figures here on the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast. We don't have like formats really. We don't have prepared questions. We're not, we're professional, but we're not that professional, right, Brian?
No, of course not. But we know what we're doing.
It's more of a conversation.
Yeah, we're conversational. But we got to take it back to the beginning. Were you a wrestling fan growing up?
Yeah, I was a fan growing up. I used to jump on the speed line and go over to Philly, over to the old Spectrum every month to go over and watch and watched on TV. And, so like everyone else, I was kind of a fan and then grew more into it and then kind of just fell into this wonderful business that we all sort of love.
Did your fandom as a kid spill over to like T-shirts, or were LJNs the first like big rubber figures? Were they a thing?
I had all of those.
Oh, nice.
And I moved. I'm actually really pissed. When I moved to Florida, I had a storage unit, and somebody busted in the storage unit, and they took all of those. I had the ring, and I had the ring, and I abused the ring so much. My grandfather worked for a metal company. And he actually made me steal ring posts because I kept breaking the plastic ones.
Whoa, that's awesome.
Wow, that's badass.
Steel ring posts, which was awesome. Yeah, but some asshole stole it out of my storage unit.
Oh, no.
All of my chairs except for one Royal Rumble chair. Yeah, left everything else, took all my wrestling stuff. So I was kind of pissed. But
well, that thief had an eye for quality, I guess.
And then those action figures were huge. I was bored, and I played the shit out of those.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All of ours from childhood were all
Brian,
messed up too.
I played with him growing up all the time.
Yeah. So, what do you have any memories? Like, which ones would be your favorite?
Well, Macho Man is my all-time favorite.
Nice.
So Macho Man was. I love the Sheik. Trying to think of the other ones we had. We had Valentine. I had all the originals. The original superheroes that came out. I had all of them.
That's awesome. I love the story about the post. That's like so innovative.
Yeah.
Didn't kids get impaled on those things? Like they trip and fall?
Yeah, they had to recall that ring because people would like fall on. I think one kid fell and it like pierced him, his body. So, and that was just plastic.
Should be laughing.
Imagine if he fell on your ring, your childhood ring, you would have killed him.
Yeah. That's a finisher, bro. You fall on Chaz's ring. I went to Chaz's after school.
It would have killed a vampire.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome.
So for us, obviously, it's weird talking about it now, but like we grew up playing with your figure, and you're the Headbangers 2-pack. When those came out, this is pre-internet, right? So like nowadays, the figures come out, you know about it on the message boards, and you get to pre-order it and stuff like that. But back in the
prototypes and pictures way before,
Yeah, back in the day, the internet wasn't so like prevalent. So for me personally, like I walked into a store one day and saw, Tag Team Series 1, and I'm like, oh my God. So the toy business has changed in a way. So I assume you had to know it was coming out, right?
Yeah, it's actually a great way. We found out. So when Monday Night Raw started, like Glenn was on the very first Monday Night Raw ever doing jobs.
He's done a lot of those. I watched when the network first came out. I watched so many of those, and he's done a lot. Him and Bucci.
Yeah, that was before me. So we were on the road for about 10 days. We were still part-time. We still had a part-time deal. We were on the road for about 10 days, going over every night. And we go for Monday Night Raw. It's in the Manhattan Center, which at that point for me was exciting because I still hadn't wrestled in the Manhattan Center, and that's where Raw started. So we actually found out that night that we were getting action figures. It was a great night. We found out that night we were getting action figures. We were wrestling. We were working LOD, which was their first match back.
Wow.
WrestleMania 13. And we were all excited because we were on the road for 10 days going over. And then we walk up and we see the run sheet, and it says Headbangers versus LOD. And we went, ugh. We're like, well, But we had a great match with them, and it actually ended up being a double count out, so that was great. We didn't have to put them over. But I love to. Afterwards, they were like, "Do you guys mind?" I'm like, "I will take it. I will take it." And I said, "I want you to flip me all the way over on Doomsday.
Oh, baby.
Easy back bump. I want to flip all the way over." So we got to do that. And then the other thing we found out that night was we were actually going to be in WrestleMania 13. But again, we found out that one night action figures were coming out.
Wow.
WrestleMania 13 and working LOD. So we found out.
Is that like a fatal 4-way at WrestleMania 13 or something like that? What's that match?
Yeah, it was us, the Godwins, the New Blackjack.
I say New Blackjack.
And Doug and Phil.
Wow.
Oh, that was almost all of Tag Team Series 1.
Yeah, it's almost the whole set if LOD was in it. But LOD's in the street fight with Ahmed, right?
Yes.
So who, do you recall like how or who told you about the action figures? Like who would do that at the time?
I honestly, I think it was Finkel because they took us in to take pictures.
Oh, cool.
Weird pictures, like profile pictures.
Yeah.
They're like, what are these for? They're like, oh, these are for your action figures. And we were like, action figures?
Man, that's awesome.
They're like, oh, you guys didn't know you had action figures coming out? We're like, no. And at this point, again, we were still part-time. We weren't even full-time yet.
That's like the really crazy part.
Mind-boggling.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. First WrestleMania, we went over. Again, we were still part-time. So we signed a part-time deal in November. I don't think we signed a full-time deal for about 6 or 7 months. No, it had to be like June or July. We first signed
Oh my God.
And that's kind of when the figures actually come out. It's like summertime.
Yeah.
So it's wild. Like back in the day, Jakks, they didn't have to jump through so many hoops. So they were able to bang out these figures like really, really fast. I mean, if you guys took pictures right before WrestleMania, the figure comes out like summertime, fall time. That's less than a year.
Yeah.
Now with like Mattel, it takes like over a year for something to come out.
Really? Yeah. It was funny because our part-time deal, when Bruce Pritchard came to us and gave us, here, we're offering you guys a full-time contract. It's a 3-year deal. So we're like, oh, this is awesome. And then I started reading, got home, read through the contract, and I'm like, nah, this really isn't that good. So we went back to TV, and I said to Bruce, I go, this really isn't a good contract for us. And he was like, what are you talking about? And then he goes, you don't want to be full-time? You don't want to sign a long-term deal? I go, I'll sign a lifetime deal right now. I said, but I said, our part-time deal at the time, we got $500 a night for TV. They paid for all of our travel, hotel, and car.
Yeah, which is a huge expense.
Right. So you're handing us now a deal where we had to pay our own, our own car, our own hotel. We were only going to get $100 for TV. I said, I'm going to lose money to be at TV.
Yeah.
Bruce looks at me, he goes, well, what are you thinking? I said, what I'm thinking is you just take our part-time contract, add the royalties for the merchandise into it, and just make it a 3-year deal or 5-year deal or lifetime deal, whatever you want to do. Take this portion, add that. And he came back. He goes, all right. He goes, let me see. He came back the next day with a whole new contract. He goes, here you go. And that's what we got. So it worked out.
Wow.
Yeah, it worked out well.
So like Matt was saying, that Tag Team Series 1 was like such a big deal for figure fans. I don't know if you realize that. And you guys were in that first set. What's your first memory of seeing that? Was it in the store? Was it backstage? Like, what's the first time you got your hands on it?
I think they shipped us some. I think I got the first set in the mail. But then I remember going to Toys R Us, and I'm going to assume you guys did the same thing. I went to Toys R Us and bought all of my figures.
Oh,
and
yeah, always.
I'm standing there at the register, and the girl is ringing them up, and I'm like standing there like this. She goes, oh, you really like these action figures? And I go, well, I like this one particular. Yeah. And she goes, oh, yeah. And she just keeps going. And I'm like, it's me. Like it was dying that she didn't realize it was me that I was buying over and over again. But yeah, that was the first big thing where I was like, I can go to the store and buy 10. I bought them all off the shelf. I think there was like,
I mean, Matt and I basically do the same thing to this day. We just buy them up when we see them. But it's funny. I feel like most wrestlers have the same kind of like it's like they buy them, they take them to the register, and they don't want to be recognized. They're trying to get in and get out, or they're trying to see if the person at the register like sells it or not. Like I remember one of my first ones. My buddy's like, "You don't realize this is him buying it," and then the lady just laughed at us like she thought it was a rib the whole time.
Right.
No, I wanted to be recognized for it. I'll admit it.
And the actual figure, like that whole line, it's just awesome because Jakks had just kind of started, so you're getting like 6 guys at a time, and most of the time it's like a repaint. You're getting like another Brett, another Shawn, and then all of a sudden we're getting 8 new guys. Well, I guess technically they already made Bradshaw. But
Yeah,
you get,
say
like
Bradshaw's got
7 new guys.
repackaged quick there.
And then you guys have the skirts, and the skirts you can still move. Like we were kids playing, so like the playability factor, like you could still move your legs and do like all your finishing moves, and the skirt was just there, and it was like it was such a cool figure.
Yeah, it was awesome. And the other thing, when we got that first royalty check.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
I was like, wow. And it wasn't even the amount of the check, because I think the check was like $2,800. It wasn't like a stone cold royalty check. It was just a normal check, but it was the fact of the number of action figures that sold that I was
Right. Yeah.
holy shit, that many people bought our action figures. Like, to me, that just blew me away, because to me, it wasn't like I was famous or anybody knew who I was. Like, to me, it was no big deal. It was just, I'm just me. So to have everyone want to go buy them was crazy.
Another thing I loved about it was like, it was early on in the Jakks day, so it was like all unique parts for you guys, with like the boots, with like the socks, and like it wasn't like they didn't repaint some other guy.
Tattoos.
I think the first T-shirt, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
Tattoos for sure. Like, not a lot of guys had tattoos yet at that point.
The necklaces on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the weird part for us as kids was like, it was supposed to be like stubble, but it looks almost like black, like spray paint, like
yarmulkes.
like
I always said.
Well, I think what it was because my head was, because I shaved, when I shaved it, it was still like a little darker. So I think like they kept, I guess that was the realistic look of it. But then when you got to the top, it looked like it was like somebody put a cigarette out on it.
Yeah. Did you, if you open, like, I see you have a ton behind you, later on they kind of like made it better, and it's not like that. I don't know if you know that.
No.
Like your first one for sure, like Tag Team Series 1, it has that dark spot, but then later on it's kind of faded, like a little nicer, like they kind of figured it out.
No, they all kind of look dark.
No, because it's on the back, you can't really see it,
Other than the minis, because the minis are the ones that there's no face paint on them.
Yeah, the minis rule though. I used to love those when I was a kid.
Yeah, these are great, but there's no face paint.
I never realized there was no face paint. Wait,
Yeah, I guess I never thought about that.
I didn't realize they were re-released in another mini set. So that's the one I have, the King of the Ring. What's this other one?
Sudden Threat?
Right?
Sudden Threat? Am I right?
Sudden Threat.
Wow, look at me. I'm nuts.
Is it the same figures, or like are they repainted at all? Like, or
Same one, no face paint. Yeah, they're.
And that's a Rocky Maivia painted like The Rock, right?
Ooh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
No, he's got the funky hair in there.
Yeah. I loved those when I was a kid.
Yeah, those were the ones you could bring in like your mom's car.
I was just going to say, those are the ones I would take on vacation, so I'd have to bring all my figures. I also had a weird memory while just talking to you just now that I took the skirt off one of your figures when you became Chaz.
Yeah, I think I did the same thing.
So I ripped the skirt off, and once you do that, it's broken. You can't get that back on. And I had to make a custom Jazz in my fig fed.
But you guys, they took the same figures and kind of repainted them a few times, re-released them a few times. The next one is the Wrestlemania set, where you're the single card. I love this. He has them all right here.
This is great.
This is great. Look, no one's ever done this before. There it is.
Oh my god,
Very glad.
that's really cool.
So it's that one. I guess what's the difference? There's sleeves on that one as opposed to sleeveless. Tag team one has no sleeves.
The Mania one, they have like sleeves and.
You know what? I never noticed that.
Yeah, yeah, they have sleeves and then.
Never noticed it.
This might be really weird. I think the underwear is painted different.
Yeah, different underwear too.
Yeah.
And then
Get under there, pal.
YouTube, you're looking at Mosh looking at his own junk.
Well, hold on 1 second. Let me see something.
I thought you were gonna check your own underwear.
Is he pulling on his pants? This podcast is getting a little wild.
I love it.
I always have one out, and he comes with me in the bag.
Oh,
There
nice.
you go.
Yeah, this one's got the yellow one on, so I think that's this one.
Is it the sleeves or no sleeves?
Yeah, that's WrestleMania. So
No, this is sleeves. Yeah, this one's. I never noticed that.
wait, so that one should say on the back, "Real men wear."
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah.
See that's not on the back of Tag Team.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
And I love how it's the most generic font possible.
Yeah.
They couldn't.
They went all out on that font. Yes, for sure. Yeah,
It's so great. I never noticed the sleeves before. Now I'm going to notice it all the time.
yeah. Yeah, as you can tell, we're pretty serious about action figures on the show.
I know.
Yeah.
We probably like a year or two ago, these are called like the Bone Crunchers. So I was trying to rebuild my Bone Crunching collection and get it. I was taking like crotch shots of all the Headbanger figures to compare all the underwears the same. It was really weird stuff because then you're released in a weird like 3-pack. The Headbangers are split up. Oh look, he's going to get it. Look at this. This is incredible.
Here was the thing with this 3-pack. I wish this was put out like Toys R Us. This was exclusively for BJ's.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow, you know it. I'm shocked you knew that. Look at that star-studded set right there.
Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Mosh are the Headbangers. I love it.
Yeah, and then Glenn was in with Triple H and Shawn.
Yeah.
But
Wow, you guys are in good company, man.
You guys were so over at that time. That's the Wrestlemania set, and we just named all the guys who were in it. You guys are in it. Then I remember, I think it's the Raw is War or Attitude video game. Very small roster, but you guys are in that as well.
Yes.
Man, you were just swimming in royalty checks.
Swimming in royalty checks.
That was a fun time.
Did you guys ever get on ice cream bars?
No, we never hit ice cream bars. I think ice cream bars were before us.
No, but they never, dude. They didn't die till we were on the roster. They just were such little distribution.
And I don't think we made ice cream bars.
I remember riding with Punk and someone sent him a picture or something, and CM Punk was on when we were like, oh my god.
Yes, that was like 07 it died.
Yeah, I think they finally die around like 07, 08.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you guys have your own T-shirts, so there's like a bunch of merch. You're in a lot of video games, or a couple of video games.
Yeah.
I mean, that's making it, right? Like get action figures, T-shirt, video game, WrestleMania, tag team titles. I mean,
I look at it this way. There's a couple of things looking back I would have done differently, but at this point I have zero regrets. I mean, growing up watching it, I told everyone in high school that, one day I'm going to be a professional wrestler. I mean, I wrestled in high school. I wrestled amateur, all the way from 3rd grade, a little bit in college. And, like I said, I used to go over to Philly, over to Spectrum to watch. So I used to tell everyone, now I'm going to be a wrestler. I used to laugh at me. But I should have gotten most likely to succeed because, as far as I know, as all of my friends in high school, I made it. I did what I said I was going to do.
That's pretty awesome, yeah.
But yeah, I have zero regrets. I have however many 10 sets of action figures. I don't know, 4 or 5 video games. I don't know if there's more than that. But I have my belt. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
Let's talk about what I think is your prized possession. You probably don't, but can you get that Stomp underwater scene for me over there?
Yeah, what do you know about Stomp?
That's what I want to talk about.
Oh my god.
Like I am jealous. You are in the Stomp line.
Or you like, when that comes out, you're like, am I a G.I. Joe or WWF wrestler?
I looked at it and I went, my tongue's sticking out. It's a different face. I love it.
That part is cool. Yeah, that is an underrated aspect of it for sure.
So as a kid, I absolutely hated these figures because, like, what was I gonna do with these? Like, I was playing very realistic, in my opinion. I would download the music. I'd have him walk down the entranceway. I'd flip the lights for the strobe lights. But then Brian told me that he would use his Stomp figures almost like a Thunder in Paradise after Raw went on.
I had
the
to
air.
justify purchasing them. I'm like, well, these aren't what they look like on TV wrestling, but if they're supposed to be this spin-off thing, I'm going to make them a spin-off thing. So it was like Stone Cold. It was like a Thunder in Paradise starring Stone Cold Steve Austin, and all you guys were like the other characters in the show.
In Paradise. That's awesome.
I was like, I got to figure this out. I also like how Broski set that question up by saying, "Oh, I played realistic." He set a X-Pac figure on fire because he had a Kane X-Pac Inferno match in his bedroom.
This is what happened, asshole. It was Kane versus X-Pac at WrestleMania, and it was an Inferno match. I already had another Kane behind me covered in like hairspray, and then I closed my eyes and did a little switcheroo, and then put the hairspray cover one in front of me.
Hold on. Close your eyes.
He tricked himself.
Because I couldn't see myself do it. That wouldn't be real. You know what I'm saying?
Unbelievable, man.
Yeah. And then, of course, X-Pac lit up Kane,
Oh,
and he won the match. He won the Inferno match.
didn't realize Kane didn't even go over in his signature match. Ouch.
So there's no regrets, of course. One thing, if I was working for Jakks, I would regret that we made the Headbangers, or like I am Jakks. We made the Headbangers so many times, but they're all pretty much the same. There's like the best of 98 set, right? And then there's what other set is there?
Got a lot of mileage out of that.
Got the best of 98.
Best of 98.
There's
that was
okay,
what-
wait. Tag
that was
team
the
best of WrestleMania
Is
twice.
that
If you
best?
count
And up there, there's another one.
Yeah, that's WrestleMania. Another WrestleMania. thing.
WrestleMania 15.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But is that like what's
that's
that?
5 releases
Best
of the same.
97? No, that's not the best of 97.
Plus the stomp. That's 6.
But so many of them are like pretty much the same. I would
Yeah.
have changed it. They wore so many cool T-shirts. Like I wish some of them were in like.
Well, that's like a
Headbanger.
legal issue, right?
But they had Headbanger official shirts.
Yeah, of
Yeah, we
course.
did Headbanger official shirts.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
that the neon yellowish green one with the web. That's one I still
web?
have. I love it. That's the best one ever.
Yeah.
Brian, you think it's time to get into what?
Yeah, let's let people in on how this whole thing even came about. Obviously, Broski are huge marks for the Headbanger, so that we could talk about this all day. But this is what sparked you coming on the show, where you kind of caught Matt and I in a holy shit moment. So
Well, here's what happened. So you guys did the K&S show.
yeah,
Right.
They're in what they call their, I don't know, their stadium or whatever the hell they call it, their arena. So whenever I get, because Glenn and I have done lots of stuff with them, Ken and Steve, for many years. So whenever I see it pop up, I always click on to see who's on it. And if it's somebody I know or somebody I like, I do what I did to you guys. I start hitting you guys up and just kind of buzzing with questions. And then talking about, you had all the action figures out. And that's when it struck me, because even Brian, when I saw you at the RW show,
yeah.
say anything. And I was like, oh, let me stir some controversy here, or stir interest, and kind of see where this goes.
So let me just say right off the bat, like obviously in this 20 minutes we've talked already, Broski and I are nuts about wrestling figures, like nuts, and we know way too much. So very few and far between does someone stump us or throw something our way that we didn't know.
2021.
Yeah. So, and when you came at us with this information, I almost felt bad. I'm like, oh, I have to tell another wrestler that this is just a custom that like a fan made of them. And
Yeah, we didn't think you were lying. We just thought you were wrong.
yes, that's all. Yeah, 100%. And that it didn't even cross my mind that this could be true.
Well, the worst part about it was when I spit it out, and you were like, no, and I was like, oh my god, I'm like, please don't let. And because I'm thinking in my head, there's no way I'm wrong. There's no way.
That's
I'm wrong
crazy.
with how I acquired these.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but then I was like, if someone's going to know I'm wrong, it's going to be you two. So I was like, literally on the outside going, oh shit.
So to fill everybody in, Chaz, he claimed that he had unreleased, unproduced, pre-production classic superstars Headbangers, and I'm thinking like. Knee-jerk reaction is like, oh man, like these are
I'm like
customs,
someone
poor
painted up a
guy.
Roddy Piper in the kilt for you, and you're confused.
This guy thinks he's got these like expensive prototypes. Oh, they're customs. Poor guy. And then he DM'd us the picture as we're still doing this virtual signing,
which was the great thing, because I'll say sorry right now that we were wrong.
we were totally wrong.
We were absolutely wrong, but I'm glad you did that within the signing. So if you were watching that Facebook feed, we did go, oh crap, he's got something. So at least we redeemed ourselves a little bit.
Yeah, and like I instantly could tell when I saw them. I'm like, oh shit,
Yeah.
this is legit. And what they are unreleased, and I don't even know what set they were supposed to be in.
I would assume because Jakks made the 2-packs, they were Toys R Us exclusive. So at some point, I feel like
So what happened is the Vince ended the deal with Jakks and went with Mattel. They were supposed to be on the next run for the classic edition, whatever.
Man.
Whatever. That's what I was told. They're on the very next run, and then
That makes sense.
And then
So
it
that-
ended. They never.
yeah.
got
So
made.
they would have been Toys R Us exclusives because that's where all the 2-packs went.
Yeah.
So,
Devastating.
I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about the moment when I saw these figures, because it's hard to stump. It's hard to like stump us in to tell us something we don't know or to prove us wrong. It's hard to do.
So-
and like when you did it, I was like, I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
glad I
thrilled
was
you
wrong.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us about this deal? Like, what do you remember? Like, Jakks contacted you because, just for the record, back when Jakks was doing these classics, they were allowed to like just go and sign whoever they wanted.
Yeah. So
Hey, this guy, anybody.
Yeah,
So
they-
like that, especially that brand, that license got like so cool and fun because it was all over the place. And then Mattel and WWE, for whatever reason, changed the rules. You have to have like a Legends contract. It's much more difficult to get a wrestling figure these days.
Right.
So I'm assuming someone reached out to you. What do you remember?
Yeah, someone from Jakks, I don't remember who, reached out to us, and I think they paid us like a flat fee. For my, I want to say, I don't know, it was maybe $3,000 or something.
Wow.
And then I think there was like, if it sold X amount, then there was like a royalty on the back end of it. But at that point, just to get another, I was just more of a mark of getting another action figure.
Of course, yeah.
Could have cared less about. Didn't care less about the $3,000. The $3,000, because we got the $3,000 either way because it didn't come out.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just the fact of getting another action figure. And again, my son, at this point, he was, I don't know, 5 or 6, 7, something like that. To be able to go and go, hey, come with daddy. We're going to go to a toy store and buy myself in front of my
cool, yeah.
That's to me, that's what it was all about.
Absolutely.
Getting that whole series. But then when I found out what happened, I was kind of like, okay, well, I guess I got $3,000 for nothing. So I guess that's good.
But then how did you?
Long? Yeah. How do you acquire the figure? How long after that do you get the figure?
So here's what happened. So Tyler had a friend that we've known since he was 2. They started going to preschool together since they were 2 years old. 2, 3, 4, 5, and they stayed friends for a while. So their parents owned a toy company. That's why I was just trying to look up the name of it. It was like something toys. They owned a toy company. And what they did was they started out with the Britney Spears doll. Then they brought in a couple of other things, and they ended up like acquiring something to do with Cabbage Patch Kids, Justin Bieber merchandise. So they then were bought out by Jakks.
Okay.
Jakks bought them out. So they had all these contacts. So I coached, when Ty was young, I coached him and all his friends in soccer. So at the end of the season, or during the season, because I knew she did, toys, we started talking about stuff. And I told her the whole story about the action figures, because she was asking me about, with me wrestling and stuff like that. I mentioned, I have action figures, and I'd bring the action figures to show the kids and all this stuff. So I told her the whole story about how, Jakks was making this classic series, and then Vince killed the deal with Jakks and then went with Mattel. And she knew that because her toy company was acquired by Jakks. So
Wow.
she knew the owner or president, whoever it was, with Jakks. So I don't think anything of it. So I'm going through the whole season, and I coach the kids, and like all little kids at the end of the season, you have like a pizza party or whatever. So she came over to me and she goes, hey, we have a gift for you, for coaching the kids and helping out. And I'm like, oh, okay, awesome. Like, I didn't expect anything. And I was like, this is great. So this container here was all
baby.
Ooh, leftovers.
up.
Tupperware.
And when I opened it was this card, which is why I sent you the card. And it says, Coach Chaz, thanks for taking such good care of Ethan and the kids during the soccer season. Hope you like the figures from my friends at Jakks. All the best. And then down the bottom, there's a little asterisk that says, these are clay hand samples, so take care.
Whoa.
And she told me, she goes, I went to my friend, the president, whoever was at Jakks. She goes, and I got these prototypes for you. Here they are.
That is cool as hell. I didn't realize that was even coming, that part of the story. Wow.
Yes.
I think let's just whip these babies out. Let's just see these babies.
I'm taking it all out. So when I sent you guys the pictures, they were still wrapped in plastic. I have never, ever taken them out of this plastic.
Be careful, please.
Yeah, I've never taken them out.
They might even, some of the limbs might not be even attached. So, wow.
Oh, look at that. Chaz, you got to speak so we can so the screen's all on you.
So there it is right there. So it has the T-shirt, the Headbanger T-shirt with the spider web. It's got I don't know how well you can see it. It's got my spider tattoo.
Wow.
It makes my back look really, really jacked.
Oh, yeah.
It's got the thorns with the cross. And we're in skirts. And again, it's clay. I'm being very fragilely touching it. Again, I've never taken it out of the bag. And then here's Glenn's.
Wow.
Again, same shirt. It's got his little leprechaun tattoo over here.
Man, that's so cool.
And you know what I really appreciate? Chaz, like I respect you and I respect your career, but I respect the most is that you didn't give that to Thrasher. You kept it for yourself. Like that's what I really respect, because that's something I would have done myself.
Oh, for sure. If it was,
thing.
1,000,000%.
It was my gift, not his.
Right, exactly. Right. You're 100% in the right. It was your gift. It was given to you. You taught those kids, soccer, all the, you helped them out all year. You sacrificed your Saturdays. You deserve those things.
I am 1,000,000% the Thrasher of this situation, because if it was flip-flop and Broski got those, there's no way I'd get mine. And if I got them, I'd be giving Broski's the next day to him. So, unbelievable.
I'm looking for the name of that company real quick.
A couple things about these figures. Why I knew they were legit is because of the heads. Like, you could tell these are legit, authentic heads. These aren't like somebody else's face. Obviously, they didn't use the Bone Cruncher head. It wasn't a custom head of somebody else. And also,
the shirts sold me.
The shirts and the I was about to say kilt, but it's a skirt, because they're using Piper's kilt. And like, Jakks was so lazy at that point that they wouldn't have painted like the different lines on the skirt. They would have just did it red or blue. And they would have used like a singlet top for a tank top.
I'm actually surprised at the amount of tattoos.
This is Jeremy Padawa written all over it.
Man, that story was so much more intense, like the way you got it. I just thought you said, "Oh, well, can I get some if it's not going to come out?" And that was it. That's so cool.
Their company was called Play Along Toys.
Play Along Toys.
Okay. I'll look them up. I'll do some research on that.
That's the company that they had.
I just looked up the Britney Spears doll while you were looking up. I can't read the box though.
So what we got to do, Jazz, we got to come to your crib, or we got to at least send you. We need to. These things are too nice to just sit in baggies. We need to display those babies.
First thing that crossed my mind too. These things, you gotta look at that beautiful display behind you, my man. Now you have a one-of-a-kind item that's going to just be, eye-catching. I'll send you some pictures when we're done. You got to put that on display proudly.
We will tell you exactly
safely.
What to do.
Put some sticky putty on the feet so they don't fall over. You know what I mean?
I told Brian at the beginning of this, I'm kind of cooped up here because my loft, I'm redoing it. It's going to be kind of my mini man cave, I guess, because my house in New Jersey, my basement had all my wrestling stuff all over the place. So I'm going to do that here in the loft with select things, but all the action figures and everything will be moved off of here and put on this wall right in front of me.
Awesome.
But yeah, so these action figures, I really don't know what to do with them, because I don't know if they're out in the air, if they're clay, if they'll go bad.
No, they won't do that.
On the floor and broke, I would cry.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so we're gonna tell you where to get some nice acrylic cases for them, and also those, they might, the limbs might fall apart, so there's a special putty that will hold it there. We'll make these look nice for your display, because these are if not one of a kind, there's
unbelievable.
Maybe a handful, and they're probably destroyed or thrown out. So what you have is not only extremely valuable, but so special because it's you.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes it one of those things where, when we were going back and forth on the K&S thing, I was like, you were like, how much? I'm like, they're priceless. There's one of those things that I legit think someone could offer me $1 million for them, and I'd probably say no. I
respect the hell out of that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
But one question I got, I don't know, and I'm not going to make you do it now on camera, because I want you to take them out of those bags carefully. But I really want to know what kind of underwear you're wearing under those things. I don't want you to break the legs now, but maybe later when you take it out of the plastic, you do a little peek.
Listen, we're coming over. We're filming a vlog. We're gonna pimp your toy room. We're gonna work an atomic show, do a tag match, Hawkins and Ryder versus Headbangers. It's gonna be a great time.
And I just want to know what's under that skirt. Do we got a yellow Bone Cruncher style? Do we got some polka dots, some stripes, or just plain paint? I want to know.
We got knee pads. Yeah, I can't tell just looking this way. So yes, when I get them out
we'll figure it out.
Whoa.
We'll do
the mystery continues.
That.
Yeah,
but
I feel bad because we didn't mention him too much. But does Glenn
all up inside my skirt? Literally.
I feel bad because we haven't mentioned him too much. But does Glenn collect your guys' stuff, or is he as sentimental as you are about keeping stuff?
He has them. I don't think he has as much stuff as I have, because in my basement, like I said, in New Jersey, I took newspaper clippings. I have them framed. I have our T-shirts cut out and framed.
That's awesome.
Magazines we were in, I have cut out and framed. That's all downstairs in a closet, which I got to start going through to bring out. Because again, this whole loft is going to be all my wrestling stuff.
I love it. That's great.
I don't think I know Glenn's got some sets of action figures, but I don't think he's got I don't think he has half as much as I have, because I pretty much made all that stuff.
Awesome.
I can say that I have every Mosh and Thrasher action figure except for the ones you just showed, and I don't have that sudden threat or whatever pack. I don't have that.
Oh,
so I
really?
gotta look that up. I'm getting very itchy for that now. I gotta find out. I gotta see. Maybe the underwear is different on those. Maybe they don't even have underwear.
I don't think they have underwear. It's like hollowed out, I think, if I recall.
Is that what it is?
Something like that.
I'm sure you guys have like. Oh, what's up? What do we got?
Yeah, I think it's hollowed out. I was going to say
Hollowed out.
you could see because I'm upside down in the trash can here, but
Nice. What a great way to be on the box.
can't see.
That's pretty awesome. Jazz, you're the man. Appreciate you coming on and doing this. That was cool as hell. A little piece of action figure history we uncovered here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you realize like it's special to you, but it's so special to us who like love those classic superstars, and like to know all these years later that we could have got a Mosh and a Thrasher. It's so cool, and I'm glad that the rightful owner has them. Not some collector. They're not sitting in some garbage or someone's like basement. Like you have them. We're gonna make sure they're displayed properly. You know what I'm saying?
I'm down with that.
I can't wait.
So hold on, you didn't find my hidden gem up here.
Ooh.
What is that, a JVC Kaboom box back there?
I can't. What is it? I can't really tell.
You got to speak.
Oh,
what? Where'd you find that?
That was one of the ones I used to have when, Matt, one of the things I loved about you was the fact that how you just got yourself over on YouTube. Like you could not, there's no way they could let you go because you were so over on YouTube. When Glenn and I, because there was probably about an 8 or 9 year period where Glenn and I really didn't talk at all. So then when he moved to Florida and we started doing shows again, and he wanted to start doing shows, I'm like, we got to use YouTube. So what I started doing with you, I don't know if you remember this or not, but I used to start I went and bought this little one, and I would
Rumbler,
and I would put them with this one, and I would tweet pictures out of them, and then you would retweet them, and I'm like, yes, Zach retweeted. I'm like, this is awesome. Start seeing this.
Like Flat Stanley style, huh?
That's what we started doing. So that's why I had that, and that sits right up there on my shelf.
I love it. I remember you guys came backstage. Maybe it was a show in like Tampa or Miami or something, and I thought Headbangers are huge. They're
you're on that Billy Gunn Road Dogg list. These dudes you meet, you're like, what? What?
So
this is
big.
Insane.
Still so big, and it's still so jacked up.
Yeah.
That was in Miami. I remember that day. We took that picture.
Yeah, hell yeah. Well,
That's
I'll
awesome.
find that somewhere. We'll post that with this. Great talking to you. This I love that we're finding these figures all these years later, and I love that it's you who showed it to us. I love that you proved us wrong, and I love that you own the figure. So thank you very much for being.
I'm sorry for doubting you, and I'm sorry for all the figure fanboys who are going to slide into your messages once this comes out and ask you to purchase that.
You better if you better turn off your Facebook Messenger, because you're gonna have all these creeps sliding in there, baby. Slide into those DMs,
big time,
looking for that headbanger action, asking what color underwear you're wearing under there.
All good. Let him ask.
All right, dude. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you guys down the road. Be safe.